So you know what? Let's talk about Ben. And to update everybody.
I'm surprised, man.
Wow, oh, you're surprised that I'm leading off with this?
I'm thrown off right now, yeah.
I'm just excited. I know how much you love Ben. I love him too. But I wanted to make sure that we do you a solid and open up with this. So this week, Ron Cook, writer for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, also does a show with 937 The Fan, had produced an article. We wrote an article basically saying it was an update on Big Ben and his health. So February 21st, he'll be flying back out to LA to meet with his doctor to see if he will get cleared to begin throwing light objects like tennis balls, wiffle balls, stuff like that, because up to this point, he hasn't been able to throw anything. So this is going to be the big date in terms of how his recovery is going. And yeah, man, it's been a lot of buzz around that post being made, that article being written. I've seen a lot of ends of the spectrum on this where they're like, hey man, this is going to be perfect. He's back. It's done. Championship. I've seen somewhere they're like, man, what if he doesn't get the clearance? It's over. We're done. Doesn't matter. And then I've seen something kind of fall in the middle of that. So I'll let you lead off if you want to lead off, man.
So what are you asking me how I'm feeling about it?
What's your thoughts on it, man? Yeah.
I mean, this day was going to come. We all knew it had to happen. And my thing is, I'm really optimistic. I am.
We know.
I'm really optimistic.
15-1. We remember.
The problem is if I'm trying to take a huge step back and look at this more objectively, like a bird's eye view.
Why would you do something like that? That's not Deke. Deke doesn't do that.
It's one of those things that from afar, you're just, oh, Ben's going to be back. Ben's going to be back. You know, I can't wait for next year. But then the closer the reality starts to hit in, where that day where, I mean, you're hoping and you think, oh, it's Ben. He's a superhero. Yeah. Like he's just going to pass it. And then it's going to be back to how he was a couple years ago, you know? But the closer it comes to that actual day, I'm getting nervous. I'm getting a little apprehensive.
Okay, all right.
I'm still just going to be gun-ho optimistic and saying, because here's the thing about the whole injury. Are we trying to look at a lot of different angles here?
I don't know. You tell me.
Because I think no matter what, we're going Ben or die this next season, if you look at it, because if he's not good, we're not, I don't know. I guess this will tell us if he's going to get clearance.
Right.
But he could still get clearance, and then he's still got to go through OTAs and training camp and all of that stuff. And those will still be tests as well. Once you hit that point, I mean, there's no going back. You can't get some of these quarterbacks that are fringe about to be traded, drafting a guy. So, and I'm good with that. And you know how I am. I'm good with that. Ben or die next season. Let's go. So I didn't know what you thought about that in terms of what the Steelers are going to be thinking with this situation.
Okay. Well, for me, I'll hit it like this. To start off with, the news is good news because it's at least now we know the date. We didn't know if it was beginning of February, end of February. Now we know, okay, this is the first major milestone. Other than that, I'm cautiously optimistic because I feel like a lot of times as fans, when a person gets injured, right, the first thing you think, oh, it says 46 weeks. He's good. 46 weeks. He's good to go. Period. Not, oh, it's 46 weeks. He comes back, but he's still going to take some time to get back up to speed, right? We just always assume, oh, he's good to go. He's fine. But when we look at the history of guys who've had injuries, how often are we seeing, oh, they say this timetable, but they're still not quite right. They still miss a little bit more time. Two quarterbacks in particular, when we want to just talk throwing arms and things like that, Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, right? Both of those guys, when they had their injuries, it was a simple, oh, they're going to have surgery. They're good to go. They'll be back X amount of time and good. And we saw how Luck played out. Missed multiple, like long periods of time. We saw Cam Newton, long periods of time. But initially, the thought process was what? Oh, man, they're good. Yeah. They're superheroes, like you said. Hey, man, they're fine. Don't worry about it. And then even this year, when Cam Newton was going through the offseason process, and it's like, dang, like they're saying he's good, but then it's something else. Like you just never really know how a guy's going to respond.
Well, and you thought he was going to come back in the middle of the season too. People were saying, hey, should Steelers trade for him? Should the Bears trade for him?
Have a little surgery, take a little time, he's good to go. We even saw that with Marquise Pouncey. Remember, was it 3 years ago when he had hurt the leg? and had to get surgery. Then ended up getting infected and things like that. But it was initially, he's going to miss 4 or 5 weeks and then right back. So for me, I look at it the same way in terms of, I understand February 21st is the first clearance for him to start throwing. But for me, I'm still not confident that everything is fine and that he's back to normal, because there's other factors that play into this as well. When we talked about Andrew Luck, we talked about Cam Newton. When they went through their injuries, how old were they? Mid-20s, right? Mid-20s at best. We talk about Ben being 38. So we know that the age element does play a huge factor. I tell you, my personal experiences from year 1, 2, being 21, 22, dealing with injuries versus me being 27, 28, 29, dealing with injuries were night and day.
Wow.
And you're adding 10 years on that with him being 38. Then you factor in the fact of what? He was away from the game for a whole season. We talk about how hard it is just in general with guys who miss extended periods of time when they first come back in a season. How tough it is. Now you're looking at a guy who played 6 quarters of football last year, and now he's coming off of a major injury to his throwing arm, and we're expecting, hey man, he's the guy, lead the charge, lead us the whole way. That's asking a lot. And I think, and that's not saying that he can't do it, because we all are banking on him being able to do something or at least be close to that. Mm-hmm. But I just want all of us to understand the significance of this and how tough it will be for him to do that, because number one, just taking a year away from the game is, like I said, extremely tough. And especially at the quarterback position, you think about the speed of the game, the defenses, how you operate, you have to be on. So that's rust. He's already going to have that rust. Then he has to deal with the mental barriers of, man, can I really cut it loose here? We've already, it's been highly documented and well documented in terms of been throughout his offseason workouts where he's, especially during training camp OTAs, has 1 full day of practice, has a half day of practice, and then he's typically off the next day. That's with him coming off of a full season. I don't think you could take that same approach if you want him up to speed by the time the regular season gets here.
You're saying more.
Yeah, I feel like you would have to, but then you have the fine line of, okay, what's pushing him too much? Because remember, he's still going to be coming back from that injury, even during OTAs. Let's not get it twisted. If he's going to be able, hopefully, to be cleared to throw light objects February 21st, OTAs are what, May? That's not a long period of time. So by the time you get to training camp, he hasn't played a lot of football in that regard in terms of recovering. So you're going to have to see a little bit more. But like you said, dealing with the just being older, the rest days and things like that plays a factor into it. And we talked about, like I said, the mental element of, okay, can I cut it loose? Can I not cut it loose? So it's a ton of factors and variables that make me, like I said, be cautiously optimistic, because I still feel like, hey man, this is Ben, right? He's played through a lot. He has to get it done. But I just think it's important that we understand what this process is going to look like.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be a lot of wait and see. Yeah. And I know you brought up Cam Newton and Andrew Luck. Mm-hmm. I would bring up the only quarterback that comes to mind, because it's the article that came out around the injury, was Jake Delhomme having the same injury as Ben, having the same surgery, and him coming back and having the best year of his career. I don't know how old he was, but he had to have been at least in his 30s.
You say he was early 30s, 32, I think it was.
And Ben's just better than Delhomme.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say, though. Like, I just laugh when we say Jake Delhomme came back and had his best year. What was Delhomme's best year?
I don't know.
Can we really just think about that, for example?
They won 12-4, man.
I understand that, but were we ever saying like, yo, Jake's the guy?
No.
That's all I'm saying, man.
For Carolina, there was a 3 to 4 year stretch.
Yes. Jake the Snake Delhomme, all that stuff. Jake Della is Della came Della come Della home. Yeah, you're right. Steve Smith, I remember all that. I got you. But man, just when you throw out, man, Jake Delhomme said he had his best season. It's Delhomme.
So that's what I'm hanging my hat on, dude. That is what I'm hanging my hat on. Because I'm just going to be real. They say he gets cleared here in this February date. I'm going to be all in. I'm going to be all in. I know that's going to be in the back of my mind, but I'll be leading the charge that, here we go. Steelers 2020. This is our year. Big Ben's leading us.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, a lot of